You're in tune to the OPR8. Tune currently playing Cafe Del Mar remix. It's by Deep Cry. It's coming out on the Pure Breaks label. Yeah, this tune, Alon's Feel Your Love. That's my babes on this one. Yeah, it's forthcoming Street Tracks. Unavailable. It's coming out on Brock, 28th of February.
I'm not available. I'm unavailable. Unavailable.
yourself laying this one down. Yeah, big shout to all family locked in. Been a bit of a crazy couple of months. Yeah, big shout to all your listeners. You tuned in for Krust, he's on his way. It's not just D&B on this show. Try and cover all the bases, new releases, everything I can cram in. Got some room for some classics later though. Potentially. Yeah, this one, Kendall and Blotch. Track's called Stella. Yeah, this one brand new Boofy. 4045. It's coming out on Take Form Records. Yeah, this one, Nouveau Monica. Watch them stutter.
Or listen to something.
Yeah, it's 5th of February. Just now. Metropolis Records.
Listen to something.
Yeah, it's from Dog Patrol. Offenbach. HBF Rhythm. Yeah, this is forthcoming. Sneaker Social Club. Out to Jamie. 21st of February. Yeah, another new one from myself. It's called State of Mind. Yeah, that's my babes. She's heard a few different versions of that. This particular tune this week. Yeah, shouts to Christian and Bianca. Big ups to the Unky, the Fancy, or the Wormhole crew. Welcoming in the Krust.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Very good. You?
Yeah, good, thanks. Good to see you.
Yes, that's good.
All right, let me just settle down here. In the background, we've got one of your classics. Yeah. How's it make you feel listening to this?
Quite emotional.
Yeah?
Yeah. It was very challenging album to make, this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One moment.
Yeah. I mean, this was a really special track. I wrote most of this myself, and then I had help from a arranger, Simon Hales.
Okay.
And he came in and so kind of took my sketches and he created this. And then when they were recording it in Holloway Road, I went to see them trying to do it, and it was like, it's just really emotional. You know what I mean? Like having this piece of music that you sketched out, and there's like a 30-piece orchestra all playing it back.
Right. Okay.
It was really emotional. And then I just got on the phone. I called Morgan, the singer. I said, "Look, you got to come to London today.
Right.
They're recording the strings," and she came down, and it was like, so it was a really special day.
Nice. Well, yeah. I mean, let's just touch on your history briefly then. Obviously, started off as a b-boy into Fresh 4, and then you did some work in, was it Smith and Mighty's Studio B?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
A lot goes back to there. I don't want to hinge on it too much, but
yeah,
very magical place. And of course, you formed their Full Cycle, Ronnie Size, and we all know Represent. And then sort of, through that, then this album came out, Coded Language.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a big album for myself. Obviously showed a bit of a different side to your production.
Yeah.
And and then you had obviously the big tune Warhead that was destroying dance floors for years. When I first started listening to D&B, that was everywhere. This is the late 90s when I first saw you, which was in Bristol about 98. And then this tune, just seeing in now, Maintain, came on V Classics, and that was sort of turned my head as soon as I heard this tune. It was one of the first tunes I got of yours that really sort of switched me on to how this music can be a bit different.
Yeah.
So do you want to say a bit more about Maintain, how that came about?
Well, really, it's like, it's more of a philosophy, the way I make music and how I approach it. And so, it's like that b-boy mentality. It's about being original, being authentic, being unique, being different. And so, I always prided myself on kind of listening to what was going on and figuring out what's my place in all of this. What's my crazy legs? What's my windmill style?
Okay.
What kind of fat laces am I going to wear? What am I going to wear? Adidas or Pumas? And so I view everything like that. From for me, the Bible is wild style. So I use that as the code, the b-boy code, and getting into jungle, I've now created like the Jungle OS, where I use that as an operating system. They're very, very similar, slightly different. And so, when you look at the landscape and you look at the opportunity, you think, okay, how do I cut through the noise?
Yeah, sure.
What am I going to do so that when people hear it, they clearly know in the first couple of seconds that's brand Krust.
Yeah. You've definitely got that. I mean, your music for me, it's kind of, it's dark, but it's not like scary. It's not spooky. It's like this feeling.
Yeah.
It's indescribable. Your sort of sound design, getting all nerdy, is very unique.
Yeah.
And sort of with that, I know I don't want to lift the lid too much. The magic that goes on, it's incredible. But it's is there any sort of one sort of bit of kit in recent times or in the past, like any kind of guitar pedal?
No.
That's
It's not about this. It's not about the tools. It's about the mindset. That's all it is.
Sure.
I've been coaching and mentoring creatives for the last 20 years, and everybody wants to know how I made Warhead bassline. It's
Right,
like,
yeah.
It's not about Warhead bassline.
No,
Like, you missed the point. You know what I mean? It's like you kind of got to like. It's like asking Christopher Nolan, like, what filter did you use on the IMAX? It's like,
Right,
it's not about the IMAX. It's the story.
Sure, yeah.
And so you kind of got to pull the curtain. You got to step back. I mean, I tell people all the time, everything. I don't hold anything back.
No.
But no one wants to do the work.
No, yeah, I see what you mean. They just want the quick fix.
Yeah, they want the quick fix.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, it's not a secret how I made Warhead bassline, and it is I touched the wires.
Yeah, I know that, mate. That's
Right?
a classic, isn't it? Yeah.
And so everyone's like trying to say, oh, is it a Moog? Is it a Moog? Oh, is it this SH101? Is it da-da-da? It's like, nah, it's like it was an accident. And so one of the things we used to do at Full Cycle, we used to like a thing called Stumble on a Style.
Right.
And it was just like, just jam.
Sure.
There's no secrets. Like everything now is on the internet. There's no secrets anymore.
No, yeah.
And so the only secret is like your work rate.
Right.
It's like volume, and then you get to a point where the mind switch. This is the bit that people don't like, because where you have to go to make stuff like this is beyond what you're currently doing.
Yeah.
And everybody just looks around what everyone else is doing and thinks, I'll just do enough so that I fit in with everybody else.
Sure.
But that's not what it's about.
No.
Like you can't have the best windmill by doing the same windmill as everybody else.
Okay, yeah. You got to come with your own styles.
You got to come with your own style, and then to come with your own style, you got to break down what's in front of you to its base components, and then you got to ask yourself some questions like, well, what is it that I can bring to this that nobody else can bring to it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean that's it. I mean, you've recently sort of been re-releasing your old stuff again.
Yeah.
Wonder Palace.
Yes.
I mean, what's the sort of future for that platform? Do you see? I mean, you've done like the retrospective, and it's great. I love the way you mixed up the different years of tunes.
Yeah.
It's still got this consistent sound. Did you enjoy the process of get your stuff remastered, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I like the creative process, period. So I like to just get it up on the wall, look at it, design it, start talking to all the creatives and figuring out, like, what's the story for this project? What we're going to call it? What does it mean? Where's it going? Where's it leading to? Where's it coming from? And so I'm very much like a creative director. That's how I see myself. I'm really like the conductor. I like to really just get deep in the weeds and just come up with concepts.
Yeah.
We've just finished a new project called The Devil is a Product. That's going to be coming soon. And it's library music, so we're stepping into library music now.
Okay.
So me, my brother Flynn Knight, and Gangstar, my younger brother, did all the designs and stuff.
Okay, sure.
We've got a brand called I-46 where we're doing all our sort of creative projects. You might have seen all the crazy stuff we've been posting over the last couple of months.
Right.
So that's coming from I-46. We've got this new thing as well that we're working on called New Noise. And it's just a really kind of deconstructed sound again. It's like, we are coming from this whole idea of what Bristol was back in the heyday. You know what I mean? Like that whole warehouse, St. Luke's Road, squats kind of vibe. It's like, okay, for us, we've been Full Cycle, no pun intended, right?
Nice.
But there could be clear skies out there. I could do this all night.
You could do, yeah. We've got plenty of time.
No, but
So yeah, I mean, one thing I was going to ask you. Obviously, you're big into your film.
yeah.
is there anything cooking? I mean, you don't have to say. I mean, for me, just bring it out, full cycle there, and you're talking a bit retrospectively.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of appetite out there to see any footage, that sort of thing, because it's not all out there. You know what I mean?
No.
There's plenty.
We haven't even scratched the surface. At the moment we are working on documentary.
Okay.
So it's in the process, and we're putting the pieces together. We've been working on it for about a year now.
Sure.
And we're just building the team. So there will be something coming soon.
Well, that's big news.
Yeah, so Wonder Palace is a media brand. It's not
Sure,
a label as such. It's more of a stable for creatives and for creative projects. So as you can imagine, I've been in this game for 30 years, and for me to still wake up every day with excitement, I need challenges. I need to be doing something different. So over the last couple of years, I've stepped into doing tech collaborations with AIM, the phone app for mixing your stems and stuff. So people can check that out. I did a collaboration with Blinkist, the book consolidating platform.
Right. Okay.
So I did a podcast series with them. I've done some projects with Native Instruments. And there's a few other things we've been working on as well. And so it's like, what am I going to be doing? I'm working on something as well. I can't really say much about it, but this is something really big for Bristol. So that's going to be announced in about another 2 weeks. So
nice.
That's going to be really, really exciting. I'm really excited about that. I've got a new excuse me. I've got a new compilation coming for Wonder Palace. That's almost finished.
Is that various artists?
No. Well, yes, it is actually. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's very different stuff. So it's not all going to be 170. It's going to be across the spectrum. Going to be some interesting stuff. So new Cloud Lord stuff as well come in. So
I was going to get onto that. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that later. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of stuff coming. We're just trying to figure out the best ways to deliver it.
Sure. You're a busy man.
Yeah.
Adapt the canvas, obviously.
Yeah.
With your Instagram, your ways to connect with the world.
Yeah.
Obviously, for yourself, you've got such a vast discography. I could go on and on about all the wicked tunes you've produced. And it's about that next level after you sort of. You did your album in 2020, didn't you? Edge of Everything.
Yeah.
And then from that, you seem to have just been maintaining a good flow of tunes coming out.
Yeah. I think it's like I'm excited right now. I think this is a really exciting time for the culture. Bristol feels like it's about to blow up again.
Sure.
There's something really interesting bubbling, and everybody seems to be really kind of dipping in the pot of experimentalism.
Yeah.
Music-wise, technology-wise, culture-wise, it feels like there's a resurgence of the '90s again. That same spirit.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's certainly like with the sounds that I'm hearing coming through, all the promos.
Yeah.
But it's like you can touch on anything, any sort of aspects of it.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's that big melting pot, and I think for the use coming up, starting out clubbing now. It's sort of it's such a mishmash of sounds.
Yeah.
It's like for me in the 90s when disco suddenly sort of started to come back in, you know what I mean? And then that sort of, house had obviously been through, and it kind of, in a way, sort of morphed into, the garage scene started appearing in the back room of jungle raves and things like that. And then it all goes off, and then jungle and garage sort of dispersed, drum and bass, and then it gets the early 2000s and the dubstep came through, and certainly in Bristol, we felt that scene, and then things kind of, drum and bass never stopped, you know what I mean? It kept on evolving in its own way. There's a lot of sort of liquid sound around then. But I mean, for yourself, you've always kind of stood apart. I wouldn't say you've ever moved and rolled. We're listening here in the background to one of your earliest tunes from the first Full Cycle album that you put out, sort of compilation, and still it's got those elements, that I still hear, in your present stuff. But obviously, production's moved on, the tools have moved on, but there's still that certain vibe.
Yeah, I think it's like for me, it's what Bristol does best, and coming from, Fresh 4, the Smith and Mighty stable, rolling with like Di, Sub, Ronnie. like we prided ourselves on breaks, you know, like we were like fiends for drums, you know,
Yeah.
and so it's all about experimenting with the drums and really pushing the boundaries. Like we had fierce competition between us. You know,
Okay.
we were really like battling each other, you know, like, and we were all b-boys. We were all, you know. I remember one time we were in New York and we were like, oh yeah, we're going to meet up tomorrow. We're going to go to this record shop and like, yeah, let's meet up at 9. So you get downstairs at 8 trying to get a jump on everybody and they're there at 7.
Oh, really?
But that's how we were. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
It was like, it was good competition. It's like, okay, cool. And so that's what drove us. That's what drove us to always try and, you know, outdo each other. You know, you'd always bring a tune to Dies or Ronnie's and stuff, and we'd just be there listening to each other, you
Okay,
know, and
amazing.
just pushing. Like, how did you do that? How did you do that? Oh, we did like this. Oh, cool, show me. And like, it was a healthy competition, but we never held back from each other.
Sure, yeah.
We were trying to like make sure that we all rose together as a crew, and so I've still got that ethos. I still sit down with Di and chop it up with him. You know, I still sit down with my brothers and you know, and chop it up with those guys. Do you know what I mean? And you know, sit down with a few other people. You know, I'm very much, you know, spurred on by the challenge of, you know, if I can still do something that shocks me.
Yeah. It's,
You know,
it's just what you can do. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not satisfied with just the same stuff. Like, you know, even kick downs and kick drums, I'm still not. I won't use the same one twice. Not now.
No.
You know,
Yeah,
snare drums are the same. I'm just continually like, you know, like the RZA trying to find the perfect snare.
Trying
do you know what I
to
mean?
find that perfect snare. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right, let me just bring this down a second. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just have to bring in another one.
Yeah.
We've got. So I mean, yeah, we were going to get around to some newer tracks. I just brought along a bit of a selection.
Yeah.
This was always going to be a bit freeform of the way it went.
Yeah.
You know, it's live radio.
Yeah. It's all good.
So I mean, have you bought something new?
Yeah. I've got a couple new things. I
Okay.
think. Yeah.
Yeah, I just. I mean, obviously we've been touching a lot on the past, and
Yeah.
you know, it's great to talk, and it's great to, you know, hear the stories. You know, it's fascinating for me and
Yeah.
a lot of people out there, because of course, I mean, this era, and you know, Represent was the big one. I mean, that album for me is, you know, it's like a milestone, as it is for a lot of people,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you've talked about it enough. But I mean, I mean, the Art Comanche album is one that's sort of regrown on me.
Yeah.
You and Di,
Yeah.
you know, doing chops. I mean, is there any more? I mean, I know you're working with Need for Mirrors now, and you might not want to talk about anything else you're doing, but
Me and Di have got something that we've done that people are going to be really surprised when they hear it. That's all I'm going to say.
okay, well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. Di's been a collaborator. We've been collaborating for many years. You know what I mean? And so we're like sparring partners.
Yeah.
You know, we keep the Comanche thing was a coming together of the sort of the folk and the hip hop and the soul and the blues.
Yeah.
You know, Di's ability to combine that live element and mix with, you know, my craziness, and it always comes out something interesting. So we worked on a project a while ago, and it's, you know, it's going to see the light of day. So
Okay.
it's really different, really experimental. It's been an amazing journey to, you know,
Sure.
seeing that come to fruition. So I'm really excited about that project.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, it's I mean, obviously, Cloud Lord, as you keep saying, Need for Mirrors. How did
Yeah.
that come about then? I mean, that was.
I've known Moses for, I don't know, maybe 20 years. I met
Oh,
him.
really? Okay.
First time I met him was in New Zealand.
Yeah.
So he was like just up and coming. Actually, no, that's not tell a lie. The first time I met him, he came to the first full cycle studio in Eastern Business Centre.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, he came there with his then girlfriend.
Is that through the V Recordings sort of?
No, this is way
Connection.
before that.
Way before that.
Way,
Okay.
way before that. This is
Okay.
when I think they were still living in Australia then.
Oh right,
Oh, sorry, New Zealand then.
New Zealand. So he was just
So
passing through.
he came over on holiday or something. They came to the Mecca, right?
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, that was the very first time, and then we must kept going back to Australia, New Zealand. Always bump into him, and then he ended up moving here, and then I was living in London for 10 years,
Yeah.
and just whatever he was building his sound, and then we just talked and collaborated and said let's just try this project together, and it just turned into what it is now, and so. That's a fun project to work on. Moses is I think he's one of the best producers out there for the genre and what he's doing, and it's just fun.
Yeah.
I want to work in environments where it's fun, it's exciting, where there's no bars hold back, and everybody's like, let's go, let's keep pushing. And so if you hear the progression of where that project started to where it is now, and where we're taking it in the next 12 months, it's just exciting.
Yeah,
it's just
sure.
exciting to keep doing it. We've got loads of plans for that as well, so that's a fun project to do, and people are going to be like pleasantly surprised what they're going to hear for the rest of this year on that project.
Okay, 6. Yeah. I mean, Soul in Motion Records, and Soul in Motion was a big tune. Did he get the okay for that?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's really good, man. And you've got a night coming up, V Classics. We played Maintain earlier.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the sort of the throwback raves? I mean, for me, I was raving at the end of the 90s.
Yeah.
There's a night coming up in Birmingham for the Q Club.
Yeah, that looks great.
Yeah. So I'm going to that. It's a day rave.
Yeah.
That's
day
it.
raves are killing it, bro.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I'll probably be like. Yeah, I'll probably be driving, to be honest. I don't know. Got a few mates going up, like the old crew.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the next sort of level, really. For I don't know.
Do you know what? Listen, man, we are the first, to reach the age that we are of junglists. Like this is it. You know, This is the front line, right? And so whatever we decide is going to happen, we're the ones that's going to make it happen. And so I think we are in a really interesting. I think culturally and universally, planetarily, we're in a really interesting phase where there's a mix of so many different things, and there's a melting pot, and there's an explosion, and there's a tipping point, and it can go either way. You know?
Sure.
I think one of the interesting things about culture as a whole is that you can pick it up from any piece, any point, and create something with it. We've seen that with hip hop, how hip hop was originally. Actually, it wasn't originally. It was a whole spectrum of activities that became hip hop. But now we're seeing the resurgence of jungle culture being able to adapt that for the UK. We've got a whole new generation of young people who are now, junglists. I did my live stream like tonight. I'll be doing my live stream. But last Tuesday I did one 14-year-old kid come on and DJ. What's his name? Not Lucky Legs. Is it Lucky Legs?
Time for a shout out here.
So, 14-year-old junglist, and I'm like, that's what it's about. It reminded me of myself being like 14 years old, watching Wild Style, and my world changing when I saw that. And so, what I'm seeing now out there is this whole surgence of any intersection we can interject the culture that we grew up on into anything, into building a brand, into music, into starting a clothing brand, into technology. And I think that the word jungle will be like will be like jazz soon. So do you know what I'm saying? It'd be like a verb, right, or a noun, whatever it is that we use to describe, a state of mind or a personality. Or
you say something's jazzy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like, that's a jungle vibe there.
That's it, junglistic.
And it won't necessarily be about the music. It'll be the way you dress, like the way someone's fly.
Yeah. It's the culture, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's what it's about. And I think this is where so I've been writing a lot about this, and I'm talking a lot about it lately as well. So I'm doing some talks over the summer. Yeah. My thing is like, how do we evolve? Like we're saying, it's a day rave because we're older now. Yeah. We don't need to be out doing what we used to do 20 years ago, but we do want to keep representing the culture, because when I saw Redman's new album, I saw an interview with him, and it's so true. It's like people think hip hop's a young person's game. It's like, no, it's not. that's the mistake that we make, that we think that, oh, now I'm this age, I've got to go and do something proper, I'll go and get a real job. It's like, no, this is it.
Yeah.
Right? This is it. And so if we think about where we can take this, like, where can it go? What's the next sort of 5 to 10 years of the culture, of the movement, of the psychology, of the philosophy of jungle going to be?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right? You know, who's going to build the first, library of jungle, right? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, when we're going to see, like, the library of teachers and philosophers and schools that come about, that people, can go and really get a download of what the idea is. Like, you could go to the Paris Conservatoire and study jazz, right?
Yeah.
That's what we should have for jungle.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, because you don't just go in there and study the music, you study the philosophy. You understand where it came from. You study the players, the way that they played. Everyone's got their own styles, and you study each style.
Oh,
right?
yeah, exactly. It sounds like me sort of growing up with the tape packs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You'd hear the different DJ styles, and also the tunes would stick out to you.
Yeah.
And, you'd hear something new for the first time. You'd sit around with your mates, who's made this one? You know what I mean? And you can pick out certain elements,
exactly,
like a Dillinger tune or like a Ronnie tune.
Yeah, exactly. And so the next wave of that is like, how do you then incorporate that into building businesses, building brands?
Yeah.
How do you start creating, a true identity based on this philosophy? That, because to me, jungle for me, I don't think for any of us in Full Cycle, even the original founders of jungle, it was never about the music.
Right, okay.
It's not about the music. We never sat around and said, right, we're going to invent this thing, and it's going to be called jungle, and it's going to do this. It's like, no, jungle for us was a reaction against the economic system and the system of the time.
Sure.
Just like punk was, just like what hip hop was. And so we were reacting against the culture. We were reacting against this whole thing that nobody wanted us. Right, and so we were like, well, we need significance. We're people. We got ideas. We can do stuff that could contribute to society, but not the way that you want it to be done. And so we created this thing. And
on your own terms.
On our own terms, yeah. So the creation of it, that's what it is. It just happened to be, for some of us, it was actually making music. Some of us started book companies. Some of us started radio stations. Some of us started shops. It was all the same group of people, but everybody did their own thing. But just because somebody started a shop, are they not a junglist?
Well,
of course,
they're all contributing
exactly.
towards the culture.
Exactly. So we're all junglists, and but we all do different parts in that as well. So that's what it was about. It was this movement it was a reaction against what was going on at the time, and so that's what's happening now. If you look at the conditions, so I had a meeting with someone the other day, and I always believed that we had our come up through the Tony Blair era. We actually didn't. Right? It was we had our come up through the John Major era.
Well, yeah, it was earlier. It was before he got to power.
Yeah.
I mean, people always look at '97 as the turning point because represent Mercury Music, but it was all the work before that.
Exactly.
From 88, 89 for yourself.
Yeah, and so when I realised that again, I was like, wow! And it just made me have to readjust my dates and really understand. It's like, well, that Thatcher era didn't just stop at like 90; it carried on to 97.
Yeah.
That was like. That's big. And so you start to understand the cultural and the political and economic kind of implications, and you start looking at the people and you start to think, okay, so what was actually really going on for these people? Why they felt a need to create this, outpouring? Because if you listen back to Jungle, how energetic it was saying something. There was the drums was talking to you, the bass was talking to you. It had a purpose. You know what I'm saying? It was waking the youth up.
Yeah, it was a physicality that the sound sort of coming out of hardcore really sort of started to develop that low end thrust and then the break beats and then the energy picked up with the tempo. I mean,
exactly.
It's interesting for me to look back. I mean, I was too young to enjoy it in 93, 94, but it was around that period things started to creep up in tempo, into the late 150s, 160s. And as somebody that was there, I mean, was there a conscious thought to keep pushing the tempo?
No, it just happened. I remember I was, heavily into hip hop, and when I was coming through, we used to go out to like Massive Attack, but they were called Wild Bunch. And they used to do these parties in St. Paul's, you know, they would just do a Sunday afternoon outside their house and stuff, and then the carnival and all the hours parties. So we'd always be around there. I was living in St. Paul's with Di and Sub, and we'd always, you know, be around it. But they would never just stick to playing hip hop. They would play across the board. So 1 minute they'd play, you know, a Wild Star break. Then they would play It's Yours, Tila Rock. Then they would play Eric B for President. Then they would play Public Enemy. Then they would play Pet Shop Boys. Then they would play Eurythmics. Then they would play Adonis. Then they would play Confusion.
Okay.
Right? That was all in one set.
Yeah.
And so that's how we grew up, listening to music. So when we did Full Cycle Partners, that's how we did it, because that was the culture we came from. So we never distinguished. You play the whole thing in your set. You play, you know, pop music, you play the breaks, you play the acapellas, you play house tunes, you play like early rave techno tunes.
Yeah.
And then for us, it was like, it wasn't, then it was like Radio Babylon. Then it was like We Are E, and we were in the fields, but it was the exact same thing, because we go to the fields and hear that music, and then you go to a traveller's party and they play, you know, some what's his name, Moby stuff, right?
Early Moby stuff,
or 808 State, and that's slightly the tempo has gone down a little bit now, right?
Yeah.
Then you'd hear like Charlie, Prodigy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So you'd have all these different varying tempos, and no one batted an eyelid. It was normal. So then what we would do, we come back, we go into the Studio B, Smith & Mighty's back studio, and we just get all the breaks out. And we start listening to the breaks and then chopping them up, putting them into the things, and then listening to all of our samples and start mixing and matching things together.
Okay.
And then it went from like, I think it would probably we started at about 160. You know, like the rave and sort of that kind of whole vibe was like 160. And then it kind of sort of, it just naturally went 160, 168, and then sort of 170. It felt like, okay, this is like something different, some kind of like vibe, energy vibe there. Do you know what I mean? It felt like there was Amen at 170 is different than Amen at 160.
It is, yes. It's a much sort of deeper role.
It's just more.
Yeah. It fills out the sound. Like
Yeah.
I played a track earlier that it's got an aim at 160, and it's sort of it very much, you know, those cymbal crashes are less sharp. You know what I mean?
It's just breaks like at once, like when you were lashing those jungle breaks at 170, and you've got 2 or 3 of them together doing different patterns. That is energy. That drives people crazy. You know, you just feels like there's a lot of like release happening in that. So, you know, as much as it was a auditory experience, it was also a physical and spiritual experience.
Yeah. I mean, tracks like this. I mean, this sort of takes me back, and I think with any music, there's a certain connection that you have to the time and the people that you're with. And I mean, this reminds me of my old crew, the Wormhole crew. We used to listen to tune into Cool FM in the Midlands. Yeah. You know, Spice, JB, Escape, all those people. I mean, they're still about, you know what I mean? And that was our sort of education before we come down to Bristol and eventually sort of moved here. Mates came to uni here, putting on nights here. And it's, you know, that physicality when you're in front of a sound system and you feel drum and bass and the energy in the room, and obviously it's still there. There's a whole new generation experiencing it in their way, and I've got lots of mates, you know, in the scene, obviously connected with this place and all the rest of it. It's great to see. And it's interesting to see every day where it's going to go next. You know, what the next, I wouldn't say big thing is, because there's so much room for everybody. I don't think but for me personally, I'm not out in the raves every weekend. I'm sure there is the tunes, you know what I mean? But
I don't think it's going to be. I think the next big thing will be technology.
Right.
For the music, I don't think it's going to be. You know, we're seeing the collapse of like the strangleholds from, you know, the streaming services, and we know the worst culprit. We won't give them any more airtime. But I think that where the shift is going to happen will be in the delivery of the delivery and the monetization back to the creators. Right. I think that's where it needs to shift, because we've been, you know, as creators, we've continually had the short end of the value chain.
Sure.
And I think that needs to change for it to really start flourishing again. You know, you want to feel, you know, we don't do it for money, but we do want to be compensated for the value that we've accrued.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time and thought process to make the music, and then the whole other side, which a lot of people don't see, the promotion, the artwork. There's so much goes into it. I mean, it's It's crazy. I've always thought about doing my own label, but then it's like, you know, I've got a full-time job. It's
Yeah.
like, when am I going to find the time?
I think this is what I'm sensing. I think that in itself, the whole idea needs to evolve. It's like I don't think you need to start a label. I think you just need to have a vehicle that works for you.
Yeah,
And
sure.
whatever that vehicle is that helps you reach your audience, that's the transition, the evolution. That's what technology is supposed to be providing for us.
Well, exactly. I mean, this is my vehicle, you know, and
Right.
I try and work on a couple of tunes to play every
Yeah.
show, mixing it in. There could be different styles and tempos. It's just whatever comes up, and I set myself that milestone. I'm
Yeah.
thinking, right, I've just got to get it finished,
Yeah.
you know, and that drives me on. You know,
Yeah.
I've got some releases coming up this year. I don't want to talk about myself too much, but
Yeah.
it's great to be a part of this sound
Yeah.
and this scene.
Yeah.
And Bristol in particular is definitely special, as you know. You
Mm.
know. So I mean, you know, moving on to new stuff. You know,
Yeah,
I've been playing a lot of classics. We've been hearing us talk.
Yeah.
Should we get you up on the decks? Yeah, some exclusive stuff.
103.7 FM.
Yeah, big thanks to the Krust. Passing through.
Somebody say yo! Oh my God, I know there's millions of people out there. Send everyone else to James outside body right in the crowd on the dusting. Are you ready? Alright, Joe. We're alright, let's make some noise!
I'm your hideout. Somewhere you come.
Yes, it's your boy Hella.
Left with all of the fallout.
What a masterclass we just
Your
witnessed.
soft hands around my neck leave traces and scars.